So with all of that being said, please put your hands together for our first presenter, Colin Funkhouser with Funky Bunch Pet Care.
Stand on stage.
Yeah, either or. Whatever,
Sweet.
Whatever you like.
Okay. Morning, everybody. I'm surprised Sydney agreed to the 1 hour talk of this, so I'm really excited to. No, I'm kidding. My name is Colin Funkhouser, and together with my wife, Megan, we run and operate Funky Bunch Pet Care, a dog walking and pet sitting company here in Sedalia. And just being perfectly honest, 10 years ago, this is not exactly what we thought we'd be doing with our lives. I don't know if you ever had that realization for you. 10 years ago, Megan and I were driving down to Lubbock, Texas to go get some graduate degrees at Texas Tech University. And we had just taken a Dave Ramsey class, so we were terrified of debt, and we were trying to figure out how to make it through without a lot of money owed at the end of it. We put our brains together and kind of collaborated and said, okay, you go and figure out what you want to do, I'll figure out what I want to do. My brilliant idea was to do an aquarium cleaning and maintenance company for doctors' offices or whatever. Megan's idea was pet care. I'm not going to tell you which one was more successful, because it's not a competition, but whatever. And we pet set our way through graduate school. We moved to Arlington, Texas, where we pet set our way through some more education, pet set our way through having 2 kids. Moved to Sedalia 3 years ago so that I could actually start a job with the Department of Conservation as a biologist. And we continued to pet sit. See, along the way, we'd suddenly realized that pet sitting had become part of who we are, what we do, and our mission to our community, and kind of stumbled into it. And so 2020, with everything else going on in the world, we decided that was the best time to go full-time on our own, and Funky Bunch Pet Care was born. So what do? There are 2 core services to Funky Bunch. The first one is dog walking, and we take our dog walks very seriously. A lot of people think you slap the lead on, you run out the door, and then you drag back an exhausted dog, call it a day. We look at the dog's breed. So a brachiocephalic dog like a pug or a Frenchie is going to be walked very differently than a Weimaraner. We also look at their age. So very young puppies should not be walked the same way as an older dog. We're trying to prevent injuries, and they're not very good on the leash either. We also look at the time of year. So the summertime walks, we take a lot of breaks, we walk in the grass, we are looking for shade, bringing water with us. In the wintertime, we can push it a little harder than that. We also look at any underlying conditions that the pet may have. So we look at, see if they have heart conditions. Are they fresh out of a surgery? Are they on medications that they would preclude them from doing kinds of strenuous activity? And we wrap all of this up in the client's expectations. What does the client actually want? So if a client calls us and says, I just need an hour to wrap up my last Zoom call for the day, or to work through this last little bit of homeschooling, well, that walk looks very different than somebody who calls us and said, help, I have a Weimaraner who won't stop vibrating and bouncing off the walls. And we try and do our best to accommodate the client and make sure we're meeting all of their needs as best as we possibly can and continually being in communication with them. Second core service is what we call drop-ins. So this is where we come to the client's home while they're not there to care for their pet. And we say, as long as it's legal to own and we're comfortable caring for it, we gotcha. So we are scooping litter boxes, doing water changes, finally. We are feeding tarantulas. We are giving medications. We do a lot of insulin and a lot of eye drops, turns out. We are playing with the dogs, taking them on short walks, or playing with them in the backyard. We're setting up puzzles and engaging their minds as well, because we recognize it's not all just about physical stimulation. We need to be concerned about their mental health as well, and that they have puzzles or new scents, new environments, new exposures while they're with them. And we have some clients who just want us to come in and be with their dog. We had a client named Bubba. He was kind of towards the end of his life, and the owner just wanted to make sure that he didn't feel alone while she was working overnights at Bothwell. And we would come in, we'd let him outside, make sure his water was filled up, and we'd just lay on the floor with him and hold him. And when he passed, that was really hard to know that this bun that you had invested so much in is now across the Rainbow Bridge. And so we're constantly focused on the client's needs and expectations, because it turns out clients have a lot of expectations for their pets. A recent nationwide survey found that of modern pet parents, and this is not young pet parents, this is just pet parents who own a dog in 2021, of them, 70% responded that their pet was a member of their family. 70%. And if you look across generations and go millennial and younger, who actually also own the most pets in the United States, but of millennials and younger, we found that that was 80 to 85% responded. Member of my family. What kind of expectations does that mean for a person caring for their pets? What kind of fears and anxieties does that person have when they're leaving their house, leaving a family member behind, and needing someone to care for them? The preponderance of pet care has been and continues to be done by family, friends, neighbors, and acquaintances. People that you know, you like, and you trust, you have a connection with. So imagine this. You are leaving tomorrow. I slide you a piece of paper. I need you to write down everything that a stranger who you've never met, never been in your home, doesn't know your pet at all, would need to know to care for your pet the way you do. Anyone else's heart racing at the thought of that? We understand that. And so that's kind of at the core principle of our 4 promises to our clients. Your pet will be loved. Your pet will be cared for. You, the owner, will be respected. And we will be gentle in all that we do. Because we know it takes a lot of trust for somebody to let a complete stranger into their home around their family belongings while they're away to care for their family member. So from our website to our social media to our onboarding process for clients, we do everything we can to be as familiar as possible, to be as comfortable as possible and predictable for them. It's not uncommon for people to reach out to us and say, I need you to walk my dog this weekend. By the way, I've been stalking you for 8 months. No need to call the cops, but awesome. Thank you. We hope that you know who we are by now. We hope that we can guide you through this process. So we do a meet and greet where we come over to the house, and it's kind of the most awkward speed dating event you'll get to experience because we're trying to make sure the client's a good fit for our policies. The client's trying to make sure we're a good fit for their care needs, and the dog is just wanting to be pet so bad. And we work through that, and we over-communicate, and we send updates and pictures, and we make our booking and payment process as simple as possible in an all-in-one solution with an app on the back end. And we really work together with other pet sitters in the area as well. So we've organized some meetups with local pet sitters to get to know them better, to share resources, to expand our knowledge base, and to help overcome each other's struggles. And that's part of another thing that my wife and I work on is an outgrowth of our knowledge of pet care and experience. The same time we launched Funky Bunch back in 2020, we also launched a podcast for pet sitters. So it's a separate business for ours, and where we sell ads and we do a lot of stuff with that. But it's called a Pet Sitter Confessional, a podcast by pet sitters for pet sitters. And if you're interested in the world of pet sitting, there are 250 hours of audio out there for your enjoyment. But we did that to get connected to a broader community, to get connected to the global community of pet sitters, to help them so they realize that they're not alone. Because the thing about pet sitters, you might not know this, it's a pretty lonely job. A lot of pet sitters work dark to dark in strangers' homes, never interacting with a single human being their entire time while they're out there. Now, no matter how much somebody says that they are a pet person and not a people person, it gets a little lonely. So twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays, Megan and I release an episode where we right in the ears of the people who are out there taking care of people's pets across the globe and are really passionate about it, helping them to not get burned out or washed out. We want the passionate people engaged in pet care to raise the bar moving forward. So I want to thank you for your time this morning and allowing me to come and talk about pets. Obviously, I can do it for a long time, so the hour talk will come later, I guess. Is that what I promised? And I'm happy to take any of your questions this morning. Thank you.
So how many clients do you have, and how many individuals are following your podcast?
Okay, so clients here in town, we have over 200 where we are caring for their pets. And then the podcast listenership is kind of fun with podcasts, but after the 30 days, we're starting to approach 1,000 people across the globe who are listening and engaged in the podcast. It's opened up a lot of doors, been invited to several speaking positions across at conferences and things like that, but it gets a lot of engagement. We're really shocked by it. because you don't think that world's out there until you start knocking. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find that you have a lot of repeat clients?
Yes. Yeah, that is the bread and butter of our business, repeat clients. Kind of how we judge is whether we're successful in growing is the number of repeats. And that's where we get at a lot, is when we can start converting one-offs into repeats. And the majority of that happens, as I mentioned, is when people, neighbors, friends, family, or acquaintances is unable to do it. I think one that we're seeing a lot more is where somebody's parents used to care for their pets, but their parents are getting older and can't handle the new puppy or something. And that's when somebody reaches out. So it's amazing the number of people who have had a pet for 20, 30 years and never needed a pet sitter. And so they lifelong pet owner, but new to professional pet care. And so it's a process that we get to walk people through and help them with. Yeah.
So you said you have 200 clients in Sedalia,
Yeah.
and that seems like quite a bit because I have 4 dogs, and it's a struggle just to take care of my 4 dogs. So 200 is quite a bit. So is it just your wife and you, or do you have employees as well? Are you expanding your operation?
Yeah. So right now it's just my wife and I. We actually did just hire, not in Sedalia, I guess that would have been a good thing to do. We actually hired down in Springfield. We have some connections down there, and we've had some inquiries come from that location. And so just went through that hiring process for there, and we'll be onboarding them and doing remote management at the same time too. So, yeah.
So just hearing that, and that there's 4, how diverse it could be, how do you base your charges for like sitting or walking?
Yeah, so we go around and around in this a lot. There are pet care providers who charge based on the animal. There are pet care providers who charge based on time. We just base off it per service, and then we'll add on per animal if we need to. So we've got a base rate, and then if you have additional pets, there's a small additional charge that goes up, just because of the amount of work in that time period and the liability that we're taking on as well.
And as a follow-up, do you do children?
No. Second most common question that I get is, so there's a lady who said, "Can you please take care of my children? What if I keep them in the crate?" And I'm like, no. Back up here. Yeah.
How do you deal with animals that are timid or shy and don't really like to be touched other than the 4 people inside my home?
It's a process. We deal with this with a lot of cats. It takes a lot of time to get to know a cat. So we do a lot of proof of life visits where we catch the eye shine, or where we we take pictures of the food to make sure that they're eating it over time. And it's a lot of, for those, it's a lot of sitting still. The same client who had the dog named Bubba has another dog named T-Bone. He's a chow, so they're guard dogs. And he's had a rough life leading up to the time where we came in. My very first visit, when we opened that door, she opened the door about this much, and she said, "Eyes up here, ignore him." He was going ballistic at me. And I just completely ignored him. We do nightly visits with him Monday through Thursday. Took 3 weeks before I ever got to pet him. And now we lay on the floor together. So it's a process, it's time. It's so what we find is dogs who haven't been socialized or exposed to new people, and all of a sudden the owner's like, I'm going on a vacation for a week and a half. Start having us come over periodically and build up that time and build up that familiarity. For T-Bone, I use him as a good example. We like to build routines with our dogs so that they know it's us, especially dogs who are new to us. So I sing him a little song before I come in through the door so that he knows that we're there, and that it's me opening the door and not some burglar, right? Try and give these cues to them so that he's familiar. So it takes time, it takes process, and I'm perfectly fine not petting a dog if I know eventually I'll get to cuddle with him. So, yeah.
You mentioned cats and
Yeah.
dogs. Are there certain pets that you're like, nope, not going there, not doing it?
I haven't encountered one yet. No. I own a tarantula, so I'm fine with them. We've taken care of saltwater aquariums. We've taken care of hingeback tortoises that were actually kept in stalls like horses in this guy's basement. It's pretty cool. Haven't encountered anything yet. I'm sure if it was venomous and someone was like, "I really need you to make sure that my king cobra feels loved," from a distance and through.
That one's fair.
Yeah, through the glass. Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you know how to handle all these pets? It's very, you can't just walk off the street and know how to deal with these situations. How did you learn all this?
It was from a lot of experience, a lot of saying yes when we shouldn't have in the very early days, and then learning from that. But there are also professional pet sitter societies that we can go to. So there are national conferences that we go to and we take training from. A big one that's growing, it's been in the veterinary field for a long time, it's called Fear Free. So it's a way of interacting with pets that is pet-led. And that is a training that Megan and I are wrapping up here to be a part of, because they just released, they've been like promising the pet sitter version for like 7 years, and and then this year they were finally like, it's out. So we're working our way through that. But we do take pet specific CPR and first aid training, and then these conferences that we go to where we learn what different urine looks like in a litter box and how to track different poop styles with dogs. We have a lot of pictures of poop here. You want that fun? But time and the specific pet sitter trainings that are out there too.
Can you sing the song?
Oh, I can. So when I open the door, so you get out the keys, you jingle them twice, so he knows it's you. And then when you get to the door, you go, hey there, T-Bone. Hey there, T-Bone. Hey there, T-Bone. It's nice to see you today. Still working on the end, but that's what I sing to him for the last year.
My real question is, do you have a fee for coming over ahead of time, warming up?
To do the meet. So the meet and greet is free. That's where we'll spend at least 30 minutes getting to know you and the dog and walking through that process. If there needs to be additional times, we would charge for that leading up to a longer visit or longer stay. Yeah.
So as a small business owner, what would you say has been your greatest challenge?
Yeah. It's been, small business owner or as a pet sitting business owner, it's been the education about what pet care can be, and getting and overriding people's defaults. So we care for pets in their owners' homes while their owners are away. And many people's default is, I need to take my dog somewhere. And that's fine. And that's good for many dogs that they need that. So it's been this educational part is it's not settling to have your dog stay at home. It's actually the preferred method in many cases for most dogs, and getting people to understand that difference and why and all the other benefits that it brings in. Yeah.
So tell me about your plans for the future as far as expanding services, and you're obviously growing and stuff like that. And do you plan on maybe offering, maybe dog training in the future and stuff like that? And then the second part of my question is, what is your favorite movie? Is it Ace Ventura or Dr. Dolittle?
Okay, good question. I'll start with the second first. I've always been an Ace Ventura fan. Far and away, hands down on that. Plans for the future, we are actually looking to hire here in Sedalia and have my wife and I do less and less of the drop-ins over time. It's a wonderful opportunity for people, and it can grow even more. Right now, we service a very small radius around Sedalia. Drive times and population density kind of make us stay in this small radius. Hiring people would allow us to expand further out. And as people get connected and as we network within people, the radius keeps wanting to expand, and it's not something we're able to do just because of time constraints. And so that's something that would help us in the future is hiring here. Yes.
Do you do overnight stays?
Yes. Yeah. So we do house sitting as well on a limited basis. So this is where we come into somebody's home and we sleep in their bed, eat their food, play on the TV. No, but unless they say it's okay. But yeah, so we do house sitting, and we reserve this for people who either have a lot of pets. We've done it with pets who are on kind of palliative care, so they're kind of on their last days and they're tracking medications or they're monitoring certain things. We've also done it for people who have like a hobby farm and they just need more time dedicated to their house than we can do in a typical drop-in or an extended drop-in, or they just like the security of having somebody at their home. So that's another thing we do when we do drop-ins. We're bringing in mail, we're switching on lights throughout the house, checking doors and windows, making sure everything's secure as well. And then we do that with the house sitting as well. Yeah.
Did you say you have children?
Yes.
So are your children involved in your business as well?
Yes. Yeah. So we do screenings. A couple of our requirements with the dogs and pets that we take on is, we ask, are they good around kids? And we don't take our kids to every single visit because we know it's not okay. And we always ask the owners if that'd be okay with them. Most of the time they go with us on the cats because they love cats and we don't have a cat. So it's a great opportunity for them to start doing some stuff as well too. Yeah.
How does someone get in contact with you all, and how would they book your services?
So you can go to funkybunchpetcare.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little button that says contact, and that is all handled through our back end, so we'll be able to text or email you, however you prefer. And there's a little short form that you can fill out, just kind of talking about the needs that you have, so we get a brief idea. And then we get to send more forms to people. And I know that sounds arduous, but as my example earlier where I said, here's a blank sheet of paper, write down everything you want to know. Pet parents love talking about their pets. And they always apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, I wrote you a book. No. Well, I'll laminate it and I'm going to keep this thing forever. So we send more forms that we send before the meet and greet so they can detail all the information that they want and let us know about their pets. Yeah.
I hate to interrupt the good conversation that we're having, but I'm going to say, I'm sure that he would be happy to answer any more questions that anybody has after. But kind of as an ending question, is there anything that we as a community can do to help you and your business grow?
Sure. If you know somebody interested in pet care and doing pet care or involved in that process, please let us know. Not just so that we could possibly hire them, but also so that we could start mentoring and helping the next generation or two get off on the right foot in pet care, because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of resources for them. So we just love to bring them as part of the pet care community here and get them connected as best as we can.
Very good.
Thank you.